Ciao. That's all the Italian I know. This pen for today is the Visconti Voyager. So this is an older model Visconti. When most people think Visconti, they think a pen sort of like this, which is the Visconti Homo sapiens, which has what's now become sort of the classic Visconti clip design, etc. This is an older Visconti from a few years ago. The most distinguishing feature of this, in terms of modern Viscontis, is this actually has a 18 karat gold nib. Visconti no longer uses gold nibs. The precious metal they use in their nibs is palladium. But this is a really nice 18 karat gold nib. We'll get to that in a few minutes with the writing sample. But this is just a beautiful pen, bordering on gorgeous actually, in this really nice deep golden brown acrylic swirl, which just looks absolutely terrific. The clip on this, while not the sort of what we've been accustomed to with Viscontis, is just a really gorgeous, huge, sweeping clip that is springy, spring-loaded. You could actually, the spring component's actually visible on the side of the clip there, and really works great. It's got this very nice Visconti logo design, which the V from Visconti sort of inverted around the cap band, which looks great. It says Visconti and Firenze, which is how do you say Florence in Italy, in Italian, which is the city in Italy where Visconti is located. The bottom of the pen just has a plain gold disc, and the top of the pen has, on top of the cap, has the Visconti logo, and it actually says Visconti Voyager on the top. This does not have the Visconti My Pen system, which is on newer pens where you could actually use a magnet and remove the disc on the top and replace it with a custom disc. The older Viscontis, like this one, do not offer that feature. It's a pretty average weight pen for a pen of this type of material. It weighs 28 grams. It's a little bit longer than a Lamy Safari or a Pilot Metropolitan, but it is pretty much spot on size-wise when compared to a Visconti Homo sapiens. So the pen posts, so first let's look at the number of turns. So we're talking about 1 and about 3/4, 1.5 to 1 3/4 turns to remove the cap. Again, does not feature the hook safe system, which is a much newer feature that was added to Visconti pens. It's a normal threaded cap. We have, the threads are actually quite unobtrusive. The step down here is virtually nothing, so to speak of. We have a decently nice sized section, which is really nice because it's made out of the same material as the rest of the body, and it's quite comfortable to use. It's fairly long pen posted, but you could obviously use it unposted as well. Then you get to the nib, which is really a thing of beauty. This is a two-tone Visconti nib. The two-tone effect looks really, really beautiful here. It has the Visconti fleur-de-lis type design. It says Visconti, 18K 750, Firenze, and a tiny F for fine. Beautiful, beautiful nib. This is really an attractive pen. Really, the material is just really, really, really gorgeous. So almost like a throwback type material, right? You might have expected this from another area. Like, it really, a lot of great pens from maybe in the 50s, and from other manufacturers. Some of your classic pens that had sort of very similar type acrylic swirls and whatnot, and this just looks great. So that is probably all we need to know about this pen. Let's see how it writes right now. Okay, folks, what we're writing with here today is a Visconti Voyager. And this is a fine 18 karat gold nib, which, as I said, is from another era in Visconti history. Very, very smooth. Really, really smooth. It has a tiniest whisper of feedback, but it's an amount that I'm like and I'm really comfortable with, and I don't think I'd want to give up that feedback. This is just a really nice writing, very smooth, well flowing, a pretty wet nib, and it just looks feels great to work. Feels great to write with. Given that it is a gold nib, you can squeeze out a tiny bit of variation here, but it's not really a flex nib by any means. It's actually a fairly stiff nib, but there is a tiny bit of line variation to be had. Reverse writing, not really. It just dries up pretty and is extremely scratchy. So not a pen for reverse writing, but you do have this this nice fine line that writes well and flows well, and it's just a great nib. It actually feels very comparable to the modern Visconti Palladium nibs. I'll probably let me know if you're interested in sort of a shootout, if you will, between these two pens, and I could do or side by side comparison, if you will, and I would. I'd be happy to do that, but it is a very, very similar a writing experience. They're both fine nibs. Both nibs look the same, etc. It's just one's a gold nib, one's a palladium nib. One other thing that the Voyager differs considerably from the Homo sapiens is the filling mechanism. This is a cartridge converter filled pen, which uses a regular old cartridge and converter, as opposed to the Homo sapiens, which uses a vacuum filling system, a vacuum filling system. Obviously, pluses and minuses on both relate to incapacity and stuff like that, and you have ease of cleaning here versus incapacity here, and just relative sort of sophistication of the filling mechanism. So that is another big difference in the two pens. I guess that'll do it for the pen for today. Let's talk about the ink a little bit, shall we? So this ink is J. Herbin Le de Thé, which I believe in French means either like tea leaves or tea dregs or whatever. So it's, I think, meant to be evocative of what's left in your teacup after you're done drinking your tea, which is a decently accurate color way of describing the color. There's a bit of shading to be had here. It's a pretty shade of brown. One video that I might do, because I have the tea colored J. Herbin ink, I have the coffee colored J. Herbin ink, and I have the chocolate colored J. Herbin ink. So those are the three sort of food groups of brown. So I might do a video where I do all three of those side by side. I think that might be interesting. As I've said on many other videos, I'm a big fan of brown inks, and this one is a very nice one. It's definitely on the darker side. It shades nice. It's nice and contrasty. It's got good flow. It dries well, does not feather, is relatively well behaved. What more could one say. It's about the only complaints that you would make is the typical complaints that would be typical of J. Herbin inks. One is the bottle is not the best. It's sort of this short, wide bottle, which is really not optimal for ink, and they're kind of expensive. I mean, it's among the pricier inks on a cost per milliliter basis. But aside from that, from the actual writing experience, it's a great ink. And if you're in the market for a brown, this you can't go too wrong with this one. So, good pen, good ink this week. I hope you all liked it. As always, if you have any questions or comments or concerns and feedback, I would be happy to hear it and take it under advisement. And until next time, have a good day. Bye-bye.